And welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. That is the Great Lakes Honda City location. Once again, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And of course, they're open all the time by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We appreciate you being here up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're tuning in, we thank you for being here with us on Wake Up Call, where sports meets life. My special guest here this morning that will join us in just a moment is Marcus Coleman. Marcus Coleman coming to us from Syracuse Orange history on the defensive line for the football program. He will be here today to speak on a lot of different topics, including his journey, how he's been challenged and how he's grown, as well as his thoughts on the new leaders at Syracuse University with a bunch of change that's happened. There's a new chancellor-elect in J. Michael Haney. There's a new director of athletics with Brian Blair coming on to the Syracuse University staffing, as well as the fact that Jerry McNamara is back as the men's basketball head coach. So a lot of change, and we'll talk with Marcus about that. Then in the second hour of the show, we'll jump into NCAA, Major League Baseball, and NFL topics, as I've had a lot of guests on the show over the last couple of weeks telling their stories, and I want to make sure we don't miss out on telling the stories of what's happening in the world of collegiate as well as professional athletics here in America. So there's a bunch of things that I don't want to leave on the cutting room floor, and we'll get into those later on today. So with that being said, and without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to welcome into the broadcast here once again on the show. He is no stranger to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and that's Marcus Coleman, who joins me once again from Syracuse Orange football history, speaking on the new leadership at Syracuse University and more. Marcus, how are you this morning?
Dan, I am doing amazing. Feeling good. It's always great to be back on your broadcast. And like you shared, there's a lot of new going on at Syracuse, also a lot of exciting things in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to our great discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And always looking forward to speaking with you and getting your thoughts on all of these pieces. Always appreciate our conversation. So I do want to start where I said we would, which is to speak on your journey. I had Shamarko Thomas on the broadcast yesterday, and he spoke with me about life after football. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for an athlete to think about that, be it a professional athlete or a student athlete coming out of college or out of high school, that sport might be the one thing that you've done, the one thing that you've trained for, the one thing you've focused on for, you know, years upon years, decades even. And life after that is something that can be a struggle when you're so used to going toward that one goal. So I heard Shamarko's thoughts on it. I'd love to hear yours on your journey and what life has been like after football.
Yeah, and I first want to comment on, I had the privilege of watching Shamarko play. He was an upperclassman when I was a freshman, and he was a true leader on and off the field. Shamarko worked out 5-6 times a day. He really set the precedent for all of us that wanted to achieve something great, whether it was at Syracuse or even get to the next level. But yes, this is something that is very common for athletes, no matter what sport you play. It takes a large amount of time to become successful, especially if you make it to the Division I level. It's not just your talent that got you there. There's a lot of discipline from your workouts, film study, your nutrition, and also it becomes your identity. Like I can even think about after I graduated from college, it was several years removed, and people would still go, "Oh, Marcus Coleman, a football player," right? And it is such a large part of your life. And it's a hard transition from one, your schedule, right? Like you said, it could be for decades. You've been doing the same thing every day. Wake up, work out, watch film, hang out with your guys, watch a football again, maybe playing NCAA, right? So your whole life, you know what you need to do. It's comfortable and it's had led to a lot of success. And then you have to transition out of that, and you have to, one, deal with, you have a new identity.
Yeah.
Two, what is something out there in the world that you're going to have that same passion and zest for? And that's really hard to find, because it took me a long time to find what was that next thing that I could still have that same energy about and passion every day. Even when you don't want to do it, it's just, okay, this is something I love. I want to get after it.
Yeah, and I can't help but think, I mean, because it's weird, right? I mean, like, I'm living my dream and I wanted to broadcast. It's one of the things I wanted to do. There's a lot of things I want to do, but I'm living it. And, God puts air in my lungs and wakes me up in the morning. I get to do this, right, for the rest of my life. But so I could be doing this at 90. Whereas if you're a professional athlete, it stops at some point, and a lot of times there's so much life after that, right? You might be 28 years old, 32 years old, 40 years old, and you're thinking, I might be on this planet for the next 50 years, 60 years, so what am I going to do? Do you feel like you mourn a loss? Does it kind of ache you?
Absolutely. It was true grief. Like, I talked to a lot of the young guys, but also my friends that I played with at Syracuse about mental health, really reaching out to a therapist, because it is something big that you are transitioning. Like, it's a new life for you.
Yeah.
And also it's a loss of an identity. Now you can still stay a part of the game like I do, like doing football camps, um, serving at nonprofits that benefit student athletes. But you have to really go through that process of, okay, that old version of you is no longer there, which is nothing wrong with that. Like, we are humans, we're supposed to evolve. Um, but it is something that is hard for a lot of people. It was hard for me. And just speaking for my friend group, without sharing names, it was hard for a lot of them as well. But the thing that got us through it was the support. We had each other, and it helped us get through those tough times of, I mean, what is my purpose in life now, right? I mean, it was football, but I don't know. And that is a tough thing mentally to deal with.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you do things like camps and different pieces where you can pay it forward and whatnot. How did you get through it? When you talk about mourning a loss, grieving, and feeling that, something you poured your blood, sweat, and tears to, mind, body, heart, and soul into for however many years, how did you get through, like, I have to be okay that I'm not going to be on the field?
Yes. So the first thing, like I shared, was community. So going to my peers that are going through something similar, but then also going to the older generation that has already went through it, and reaching out to them and seeing, hey, how did you transition? What was it like? What tools did you implement to get you through that? And that has been extremely helpful. The second thing, Dan, that is my faith. I'm a Christian, and I share with the guys, no matter what your religious affiliation is, having that faith system really gets you through the hard times. And that's what really got me through, right? So for me, I always reminded myself, God is there with me. God created me for something more than just football. Football was a platform that allowed me to gain some influence, gain some experiences. But that was one of the chapters in my book, and that I'm on to something new. And that was all preparation. So that got me through. And then the last thing was staying connected to the game. Uh, Being able to give back is something that's huge. So you see it a lot. A lot of ex-athletes, they become trainers, they become coaches, they might become mentors. Staying close to it, but I would say that was one of the biggest things for me, because it allowed me to slowly heal and allow me transition into my new identity without it being so abrupt.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, finding a way and having that community, having people with similar things that they're going through, talking with a therapist, working through those issues, utilizing your resources, and then staying connected to the game in some way. I think it's important because I talk with so many of you and I built friendships with so many of you that, play this beautiful game, and I see you as people. And as you know, you're on the show years and years after you play, and so I want to be a bridge, and I want to, be able to give that piece and always keep that spotlight on you all. And at the same time, I'm hoping that you have that piece because, growing up as a kid, there was no mental health anything. Not for me. I mean, it was suck it up, deal with it, stop being a wimp. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's like, well, you're a man, you can't cry, you can't feel, you can't say anything about how you feel, you can't talk through your problems, you can't show weakness, you can't have a bad day. And I just think it's funny how here we are in 2026 and the man in America gets attacked. But I'm like, wait a minute, we've been told to shut up for decades upon decades, and now we're being told that we're not allowed to be ourselves and be masculine and be proud of that. So I'd love to get your take on that side of it too, is that like as a man, there wasn't a lot of mental health anything for men or women. But then on top of that, we were told as men, suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah. And so I was really thinking about your question that you brought up. I was really thinking about how I can articulate if a question like this came up. So for me, my background, I grew up in a very humble background. I grew up in Camden, New Jersey. And to give context for people that don't know about Camden, New Jersey is right outside of Philadelphia. And in 2008, it was the murder capital of America. Now, the city has changed drastically. It hasn't had a homicide in this past summer, the first time in 50 years. I bring this up because football was my outlet to process the trauma around me. So the ability to get that anger out, dominate another person every day was something I was using to cope with the trauma that I had from my environment. When football ended, I realized even with the hard workouts, I still didn't have that outlet. And that's when it clicked to me, hey, I need to talk to a therapist to see, hey, how do I process this healthy now that I don't have this outlet that I use a large part of my life? And a lot of the athletes that are my friends, ones that I talk to now, they use their sport as their mental health. You go out there, you get your anger out, you win, you get that kudos, you're good. It wears off, you go to the next practice, the next game, you get that recharge again, and it continues. And then when after football happens, and you see it a lot of people go, oh, especially with football, oh, this guy must have CTE. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying this person didn't have CTE or not. But what I see is they lost that outlet that they had, that they were using to process whatever trauma or maybe whatever underlying mental health issue. Yeah. And then it's gone at the same time processing the loss of identity. And you see it really impact their lives, whether it's impulsive spending, making public statements that don't align to their brand or how people know them, or they self-isolate. So mental health, I will scream at the rooftops, even if someone calls me soft for talking about mental health, because I've seen how addressing my mental health has made me a better person, a better professional, a better sibling, a better son, and overall a better person for my community. So I'm a champion of it.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And, we need that. We need people to talk about it and to discuss it. I mean, I've discussed on this show for many, many years. If there's something on my mind, something I care about, something I feel, that we can be better at. We do the ingredients to success every week. We do the annoying moment of the week. We do LEAD, which is learn, evolve, ad lib, and deliver is what the acronym stands for. So I'm always challenging myself to think about one of my weaknesses and then talk about it. And to say, like, this is not just a topic for today. Like, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to talk to me. And, I think it's important to put your money where your mouth is. My mom tells me all the time, like, don't be that person that goes on the air and has really good advice and you don't take it. So, I think that that's huge, and it's really important. And on this journey that you've had, Marcus, to, self-awareness, self-realization, and everything that you've been through, what can you say about little Marcus growing up in Camden to the man that's sitting here today? What are you most proud of in the evolution of your life?
I will say the little Marcus and the Marcus that you see today, there's one thing that's common, is delusionally optimistic. So even as a kid, right, no matter what the environment I was in, I really believed that I can achieve anything, right? And that is what really got me through. And that gets a lot of athletes through, right? To become a D1 athlete, you're a part of that 1%. Then if you become a professional athlete, I mean, you're less than that 1%. You have to be delusional to really believe that you're going to be that 1% that does it. So I would say that's something that's common. But I would say something that I really changed a lot since little Marcus to big Marcus is really having that confidence, that true confidence. So it's easy to have that bravado, but do you truly believe in yourself behind closed doors? That's where I really have grown, having that positive self-talk. And then, I mean, just to summarize it, I think little Marcus will be proud. There were definitely some adversities on the way where sometimes, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I I hope this all works out, but it looks pretty dark. But I would say right now, little Marcus would be happy with big Marcus because of perseverance. No matter what happened to me, I continue to go. And I know there's going to be more adversity in my future. But just knowing that if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, you can't control the timing, but things happen for people that keep moving.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. They say, why does this person appear to be so lucky? And it's like, it's it's not luck. It's faith. It's hard work. It's belief. It's dedication. It's determination. It's, like you said, I mean, we all have to be a little bit crazy when we go out and do this. I mean, I tell people all the time when they say, how did you build your company? I said, God and I in the trenches. We molded the air in front of us. That was it. Like, there was no microphone. There was no, here's the equipment. There was no, here's the software. Here's everything set up for you. Here's a radio signal. Here's a financial backer. There was none of that. It was 26, I was 26 years old. It was 27 cents in my pocket, $103 in my bank account, an idea, a vision, a mission, a desire. I was living with my grandmother, taking care of her so that she didn't have to go to a nursing home. And I just got to a point where I was tired working for people that lied to me, that were deceitful, that didn't appreciate the work that I did, that didn't really care if I was on the air or not. And I just jumped. And there was never a, if there was a moment of, do I think I can, I would have failed. If there was a moment of, well, am I sure? I mean, I would have failed.
Yep.
And it's funny because my aunt said this to my mom years ago. She said, I wish Daniel had the confidence in all other sectors of his life that he has when it comes to his dreams. Because she said there's pieces of his life where he is so worried and fearful and thinks he's not good enough. And then he walks into a room full of reporters and he doesn't think anybody's better than him. And he'll walk right to the front, sit in the front, ask the questions. And he could care less if ABC, ESPN, Fox and everybody's sitting in there. It doesn't matter. And she's like, why don't you carry that? Like, you have that inside of you when it comes to your dreams. So why don't you carry that with every dream? with every aspiration, that you're Dan Tortora. There's nobody in the room better than you. You are a catch. You are a prize. You should know who you are. And you should know that if you're in a room with somebody, you're bringing something to the table. If they kick you out of the room, it's their loss, not yours. So I just find that interesting that my aunt said that to my mom, that she was like, he would be unstoppable if he could take what he gives to his dreams and aspirations and put it in every sector of his life. And I wonder if you ever felt that way about football.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Dan, I still remember one of the last times we spoke, you shared your story, and it's like the true personification of self-determination. Like, I mean, like you said, like you didn't have big backers, you just knocked on doors. I mean, I remember you talking about the Lemoyne thing before it even happened. Like you manifested it. And yeah, when it came to football, like I shared, I was delusionally optimistic, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know where it came from. I wish I say I did some like mental jujitsu and I figured out how to make my brain this way. It was just like I visualized it. I knew like I would like this is going to happen. Like I told myself. Now, something I did learn later on after reading a lot of different books is your self-identity dictates your actions.
Yeah.
So if you truly believe you are the best reporter or you are the best football player out there, it's impossible for your actions every day not to align. Because if your actions don't align to your self-identity, you're going to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You want to confirm to the world who you believe you are. So you will put in those extra hours to perfect your craft. You will reach out to people that's already in the industry, pick their brains, see how they've done it. And that is something that I do stress now to the younger kids that I mentor is no matter how many resources I give you, no matter how many books I tell you to read, how many experiences I provide, until you believe you are what you want to be, you're not going to achieve it.
Yeah. No, and it's true. I mean, you have to see it. You have to envision it. You have to believe it. And I mean, that's with anything. It's with relationships romantically. It's with friendships. It's with family. It's with work. I mean, you have to envision. I mean, why get into something if you think it's going to go bad? You know, and why have negative, like, listen, I'm the worst person when it comes to negative talk. I know that. I wake up in the morning, sick to my stomach, you know, thinking negatively. I've done that. And I know how that makes me feel. And sometimes it's hard, right? You don't have a lot to go off of. You know, you just take a shot. You take a shot in romance. You take a shot with business. You take a shot with, I'm going to go live here. I'm going to, when I picked up and moved to Florida, and you just have to have this like belief without evidence, which is faith. I mean, you have to have it. You have to say, I believe in myself. I believe in the decision I made, and I'm going to see it through. And if it doesn't work, it's not going to be because of me. You know, and I think that's the biggest thing is like, not everything works out. Not every friendship lasts. Not every relationship lasts. Not every job lasts. You might move somewhere and then move somewhere else. I mean, that's just how it is. But if I know anything about myself, I got to give everything that I possibly can. And I don't believe in too much, Marcus. You know, you love too much, you care too much, you do too much. To me, that's insane. If somebody loved me a lot, I would say thank you. If somebody gave to me and gave to my life, I would say thank you. If somebody showed up consistently and not infrequently, I would say thank you. So to me, it's like, you can't show up for me too much. You can't love me too much. You can't text me too much. You can't be by my side too much. You know, I would have loved for my grandfathers to be here longer than the 6 years that they were in my life. So to me, if you're the type of person that you run from people that love you and care about you and are there for you and are giving to you and investing in you, you're not my people, because I only know how to go 110. I don't know how to go anything else. And when somebody asks me to go less, I stop being me. So I kind of just want to tell the world, and I want to get your thoughts on it. If
Uh,
too much of a good thing, I just think is crazy.
no, I'm in the same boat. I don't think too much of a good thing is bad. Like I know always say everything is good in moderation.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like, for example, tough love, right? Um, for me in my professional career, there's been times where I wasn't coachable, right? And that made life harder. But once I allowed to be coached, it came with some tough love. Like, hey, did you control the controllable? Scott Schaefer, one of my defensive coordinators and head coach at Syracuse, that was one of his lines. He said every day,
Yeah.
multiple times a day, control the controllables, right? And I think there's no such thing as too much of anything, like too much, not too much tough love. Like I think people need more tough love. Someone holding you accountable to say, hey, did you do everything? Did you control the controllables, right? Because that's the ultimate form of love for someone to show you, like, hey, I know what you can be, and I'm gonna hold you to that standard, even when you don't want to. And then to your point, like someone reaching out, I mean, hey, like it's not too much. Like I will never get annoyed. I mean, you never know when that person's not going to be there. There's so many people in this world that don't have someone to reach out. So shouldn't take that for granted if there's one person in your family or one friend that texts you or calls you all the time. You
Yep.
should see that as a blessing.
Yep.
And then the last point you mentioned care. Care is big because care to me is even when you can't provide something for someone, like there's no benefit to them, they're still thinking about you and your best interest. That that's beautiful. And there's no too much of that. Because in this world is a dog eat dog world. Most people are out for themselves. So if you find a person or a group of people that care for you without it being beneficial to them, give me all of it.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I know my friend Ross, who's on the show here a lot, Ross Turetsky. I mean, he's got multiple jobs. He has two kids. He has a dog. He has a wife. And obviously, he's got his family, like his brothers, his sister, his mom, and whatnot, his stepdad. He reaches out to me pretty much every single day, multiple times a day. And then I have another friend that it's like, oh, I got kids and a job, and I can only talk to you once every 2 years, And so I look at that person, I go, I send you love, I send you peace, I want God to be there for you every step of the way, but we're not really friends. Where like Ross, I'm like, that's my guy, like that's my brother. The other person, I'm like, I knew you. What is my brother Isaac always say to me? He says, I know him, but I don't know him like that. so that's kind of how it is. Like Ross makes it a point. Like I told him, I said, I got a doctor visit coming up. I got to go to this thing, and I don't like going to the doctor. I don't go unless I feel like I need to go. And so when I go, people are like, are you all right? So I was like, I got to go. And he texted me this morning. He was like, I'm hoping everything works out. And it's like having one person that's like, hey, I cared enough to let you know that. Like that means the world to me, and I just feel like that's amazing. So before we get into the Syracuse leadership, I'd love to go to some people in your life, Marcus, that you feel like have been so consistent and give you all that love and all that care and make sure that you know that they're in your corner.
So the list is long. I've been blessed.
Yeah.
So I definitely, as they say in the church, charge it to my head, not my heart. If I miss anyone, and the order I provide their names is not the level of impact. It's just what's coming to my head right now. So like one person is my Uncle Robert. He's not my blood uncle, but he's been in my life since I was a kid. He is someone that has truly believed in me, even when I was younger. And even during the times I had adversity as a young adult, he was there to remind me of who I was. That's big. My pastor, Hayward Wiggins III, um, he's a big activist in Camden. He went through a lot of adversity in life. And no matter what, I could be in Syracuse, I could be in Massachusetts, I could be anywhere around the world. My pastor is just a call away. And I mean, anytime. It seems like he don't sleep. Like he must got some special connection with God that he don't need to sleep. My mother. So my mother and I think parents, sometimes you're always going to have your challenges, but I do feel like God created my mom perfect for me. So my mom was a math teacher. She's good with numbers, but when it comes to like, she's not going to baby you. So she made me tough. Like my mom was like, hey, you gotta get this done. She's not going to give you a whole bunch of emotions behind it, but that made me who I am today and made me strong. Um, my late grandma, Della Lines. She wasn't my blood grandma because my actual grandma passed away when my mom was 18. And this lady was the next door neighbor, and she said, "Hey, take care of my daughter and her future kids." And she was a blessing. She's the one who instilled faith in me and also showed that love. Like, hey, Marcus, you're gonna do great things. And she spoke that into my life. Um, and then I would just say, as a collective, we call our group HQ. So my roommates from college, my guys, so Darius Kelly, Ron Thompson, Terrell Hunt, Ben Lewis, these guys that I can reach out to, talk to about life things, and they have really helped me through life. So there's a ton of people out there that I probably didn't mention. Oh, one last person. I can't forget this person. So the last person, this is critical because he's the reason why I'm in the career I'm in today.
Okay.
So he always tells me now I gotta call him by his first name, Rich, but it's Richard Hocker. He actually paid for me to go to Camden Catholic High School. He owned Penn Capital Management, which was an investment firm, and he gave me my first internship in high school. I was on the fixed income desk, and he has consistently been in my life and really taught me the values and mindset that I needed, even when I wasn't having professional success. Okay, this is what you need to do to get to where you are, where you want to be. And it has been tremendous for me. And he has opened up a lot of doors by the values, the experiences that he shared, and also the mindset that I need to have to be successful in the financial services industry.
Yeah, I think, and I appreciate you sharing that because I mean it's beautiful, right? When we have these people that join us on our path, even Jesus had Simon, right? I mean, there's somebody that was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you do this, and it's it's awesome. It's awesome to have awesome people in your life. I mean, it's great, and I think I kind of at a loss for words because, like you said, you're over blessed, and I feel the same way. I tell people to this day, I'm 40 years old. My grandparents passed when my grandfathers passed when I was 6. If you ask me who raised me the last 34 years, I still give them credit. I think about them at least once a day, and I remember things about them. And, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I love what you said too, because you said, like, this wasn't my blood, but this is my uncle. This wasn't my blood, but this was my grandma. I don't have any biological siblings, but I got a bunch of brothers, couple sisters, bunch of nieces and nephews, a godson, and I tell people that all the time. And I watch people. If I meet you for the first time and I say, I don't have any biological siblings, but I got 7 brothers, and they go, oh, okay, so you have fake family. If they do that, that's the last time we talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, family is who chooses. I would like when you have blood relatives, they're stuck with you, right? That's what it feels like sometimes. When you have non-blood, they choose to be up at 3:00 in the morning when you need to talk. Like they choose to be there. So I think, to me, I was like, I couldn't have chosen better siblings ever. And they've been there and they stay there and they're consistent. You know, they'll talk to you. I was talking to my brother Isaac yesterday for 3 hours and we were laughing and we were talking serious and we were talking about sports and we are talking about life. I mean, we talked about a little bit of everything, but I'll tell you what, I felt better being on the phone with him. So, you know, I think those moments are huge and they're amazing. And that's what I want this show to be. And that's what I work for this show to be, is it's kind of like everybody gets to watch a phone call between friends, so to speak. And I appreciate the fact that you take the time to speak with me, Marcus, because you've always been good to me. You've always been kind. You've always made time. You've been supportive. And I feel like in a world that focuses on negativity, we need to thank the positive people. So I want to thank you.
Appreciate it, Dan. Same to you. I think it's two optimistic people. We're happy, right? You get to chase our dreams. I mean, that's you can't be mad when you're doing that, right? And when you see someone else doing it, you want to support it. I can't remember this quote, but it's a quote about people tear down other people because they see them chasing their dreams and they wish they did it themselves.
Yeah.
When you see someone chasing their dreams, you know how hard it is. So a little light, a little check-in, a little love goes a long way. Yeah. You might have been up 24 hours because you're a one-man show trying to get everything done. So, yeah, Dan, it's always been great. We have a great friendship, and it's been awesome seeing your journey as you continue just to build that empire.
No, and I appreciate it. And before we get into the Syracuse leadership, I want you to share with everybody what you're doing now and this chapter of your life and, you know, what you're chasing and why you're happy to be where you're at.
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of things right now, but my main thing is I'm a financial advisor. I help business owners, attorneys, college athletes, guide them through financial decisions via a tax lens to maximize their income, grow their wealth, and protect their assets. That is something that I've been working on. It's crazy to think about. I looked at my resume. I've been in the industry for 13 years. I feel like an old man now. But that's what I'm doing now. I get to make a lot of impact there. And then I do a lot of community service. So I sit on a board of Camden Catholic High School. So I really get an insight into how an educational institution leverages sports to really help grow admissions and fundraising. So I'm really excited to talk about this conversation because I'm seeing it at the high school level at a private school. And I'm seeing what Syracuse is doing with the current hires, and I'm excited about it. I just feel like these were some great hires that align to the current landscape.
Yeah, you know, and when you look at this, you said you believe that they're aligned. The new chancellor, J. Michael Haney, as well as the new director of athletics, Brian Blair. Your thoughts on these hires for Syracuse University?
I mean, let's start off with the chancellor. He's was in the Whitman School, right? So entrepreneurship was one of his disciplines.
Yeah.
He explicitly stated that the importance of athletics, and a lot of times that gets a little bit blurred depending on the higher education institution. Some leaders believe that when you talk about athletics, you're putting education on the back burner, and it's not true. The fact that he understands, and the analogy I like to use is sports is your porch or your curb appeal. That gets people to stop. That gets people to open the door. The education, what you provide, is what gets them to stay and make it their home. So you need sports because it helps out with fundraising. It gets alumni engaged. It gets visibility. I mean, Notre Dame, one of the reasons why they're known around the United States is because they were one of the first schools that got the TV rights deals. So they were nationally broadcast. Yeah. That was significant, and it helped out their enrollment. I'm sorry. I'm about to go keep running.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing, and I think, I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I got to meet them both, and so I'm definitely looking forward to that. What are your thoughts on Jerry McNamara coming home? National champion, 2003, the only time Syracuse men's basketball has ever won a national championship. So that being a beautiful thing, and also on top of that, being an assistant coach at Syracuse, helping guide Syracuse to multiple trips to the NCAA tournament as an assistant, and for them to get back to the Final Four. Then he goes to Siena, turns a 4-28 program into 14-18, and then 23-12, wins the MAC, goes to the NCAA tournament, and is almost the third 16 seed to beat a 1 seed, and now he's back home.
I love the hire, but it reminds me of, say you have a business and your son is the next, or your daughter is the next one up, and they just go to a little bit more, a little tough love. I feel like Jerry's journey was tough love, and he really had to earn it. This was not given to him. He was at Syracuse for many years as an assistant under Jim Boeheim. Jim Boeheim retires. Tortora gets the role. He goes over to Siena, like you mentioned. He turns that program around, and he's still in a battle for Syracuse head coaching job. And he wasn't the first pick.
Yeah.
This just shows you what type of person we just got. Even when he wasn't the first pick, he went out there and put together a master class in coaching against Duke. I know he had to be disappointed. I mean, this is the school he always wanted to coach. He felt this was the perfect opportunity. He did everything right, and he still wasn't picked. And he didn't allow that to distract him. He got those guys rallied, going against a tough Duke team. And Duke this year is a tough team, and out-coached them, and he earned that head coaching job. So someone that wants to be at Syracuse, this is his dream school. It wasn't given to him. He faced adversity all the way up to the fourth quarter, fourth inches, as we say in football.
Yeah.
This is someone that is going to be able to build a program in this era because he has a lot of support. The NIL money, I don't think that's going to be an issue now that he's back. And then he's going to develop these athletes.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's awesome. Again, something I'm really looking forward to. We got some messages that came in here. Faith Benjamin Gibson said, Marcus with a heart. Kevin Gagan, who I know watches and listens from all over the place, he said, great interview. And then Eric Kroom said, good morning, fellas, just tuning in. Great hire for Cuse men's basketball. So before I let you go, Marcus, we're going to play some rapid fire. We can ask each other any topic, any question in the world. You go first, then I'll give you one. We'll go back and forth for a couple. What's your first question?
First question for you, what do you think Syracuse football record is going to be this upcoming season?
Man, I hope for the best. I know the schedule is going to be tough. So, this schedule is not for the faint of heart, I will say. So, I think it depends on, it always depends on health, right? So it depends on health, and it depends on, just being in a good, the team's got to come together. They got to gel, right? There's a bunch of new receivers. Kelvin Russell is out injured. There's a bunch of guys that left. The top 4 running backs are gone. They lost their tight end over the last couple of years. They lost their 2 starting tight ends who, Orlando Gadsden the second went on to the NFL. Dan Villari's working to go on to the NFL in the 2026 NFL draft. So, Angeli being healthy, the backups being better, and all these skill players meshing is huge, as well as the offensive line with guys that are going to be new. A new center, because Austin Collins finished up his time. So there's a lot to be said about all of the new on offense to move the ball and score points. And then on defense, you got some guys that have shifted around to different areas. You got Jamie Tremble as a linebacker who came in as a tight end. You have David Amapariola, who's been a DN and he's been a linebacker. So you got him moving to DN, so now he's in that place. And then, your DBs. What are you going to do without Dev Grant? What are you going to do without Deuce? Demetrius Samuel Jr., how's he going to step it up? So there's a lot of question marks on this team. There's a lot of new when it comes to starters, and there's a lot of new when it comes to faces. So, I mean, I look at the games that they have, and I think they can win the first couple. Let's say they win 3 of 4, and then I'm looking at some of these other games here, and so if that's the second loss, the third loss, the fourth loss, the fifth loss, yeah, I mean, I want to hope they can get to 6-6, but I'm telling you that their road schedule, their home schedule, and the teams that they're playing, we could. I mean, this is going to be somewhere between 4-8 and 6-6. I hope I'm wrong, but as far as what I'm seeing and the gelling and all that stuff, I got to be an impartial broadcaster, and I think that this is a really tough schedule.
Look, I appreciate you being impartial. You gave good background to it.
Yeah.
Crazy optimistic. I'm hoping we get eight wins, but like you shared, there's a lot of new. We got to see how the team meshes.
Yeah. Eric Kroom just said, Coleman won the best humans on earth. I know he had some good insight during the interview. I will rewatch the playback, is what Kroom said. So before I ask my question, what do you want to say to Eric Kroom?
So that's big Kroom right there. Kroom, he was on the D line, played in the NFL, definitely worked me hard. But Kroom, I appreciate it. It's the same thing to him. Kroom is also someone I can reach out to at any time, and he's a great brother, and I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, well, he's awesome. Love you, Kroom. Got to have Kroom back on the show soon. My question back to you, Marcus, if you took over my show for tomorrow, and it was Wake Up Call with Marcus Coleman, who are the 3 guests that you would have on the show, and why?
First guest is Mike Tirico.
Okay.
I want to talk to Mike Tirico. He's one of the greatest Syracuse alumni. Broadcaster, really aligns with the current NIL revenue share. How do you create a brand, right? How do you consistently create a brand to generate self-revenue for yourself? The next person I would want to interview is Jim Boeheim. Jim Boeheim is one of the greatest sports basketball minds out there, but also Jim Boeheim is one of the greatest minds there is. I got to interact with him, but just interview him and pick his brain. That'll be great. And then the last one here is I have a bias towards sports. One of the reasons why I committed to Syracuse is Donovan McNabb. I want to know about his time at Syracuse, that team that they had back in the Big East. I mean, that was our heyday, right? Well, I mean, you go farther back, but then also just what his thoughts on the current environment of college football and the NFL. So that'll be my first 3 people to hit.
Yeah, I love it. What's your next question for me?
My next question for you is, that's a tough one. Where do you see Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. It's funny because I challenge myself every day. So to me, it's weird for me to say this is what I think in the next 5, because I know what I'm challenging myself in the next 5 days. And so, I always want to grow, which we have. We're setting records in a lot of different areas, and my company's always grown every year, which I thank God for. I get to do what I love. I love what I do. So I think, challenging myself as far as being smart about what I do. We work with almost 20 businesses, and I've tried to be good about not spreading myself too thin. I feel like I get to a point where I'm I need to take a break. I need to go on vacation. I need to breathe. So I think, I've done a lot. I appreciate the work that I've done. And, God knows my heart. He knows my will, and he knows what I'm going after, and I'm just trying to align with his will. So the best answer I can give you is I follow him. I trust him. He's brought me to places that I did not anticipate I was going to get to. And I just like making the world small. I like reaching people. I've broadcasted coast to coast, north to south, different countries. So I would say, take me where you want to take me, God, and just know my heart. That's what I would
Mm.
say. My
Preach.
my question my question back to you is, what piece of advice did you maybe get a long time ago that continues to resonate with you today?
So you ended off with faith in your last answer, and I want to say the same thing. So it's in First Corinthians. It's a Bible verse that says, "No matter what you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God." So for me, whatever I'm doing, even when it's hard, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for God. So that's putting in trying to make us perfect. And everything that I do, does it show love? Is it in the best interest of that person? If that's the one advice I would tell people, if whatever you're doing in life, you do it for the glory of God, that's going to make sure your morals are in line. It's going to make sure your intentions are in line. And you even mentioned, you said, God knows my heart. It's going to make sure that your heart is aligned. Because anything that you manifest from that, making the glory for God, it's going to be a blessing unto you and your family, but also it's going to be a blessing onto the people and organizations that you're providing value to.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, I mean, I say to God all the time, guide me toward you, guard me from all that is not, and your will over my want. I mean, you always hope that you finally get something right. You never know. But, I am the type of person where I'm going to give everything I can. And that's all I know how to do. So, I mean, there are things that weigh heavy on your spirit sometimes when you give and it's not appreciated. But you just hope that you hope that God will guide you in the right direction. And I don't know. I guess the one thing that keeps me going is the faith that he's got my back. I think that's the one thing that keeps me going, is saying when I don't know where to go, I just lean in on you and talk to you and hope the best. And he's never failed me. So, I mean, I guess that's the one thing that I know.
Yeah, you just said it, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. Lean not on your own understanding and allow me to lead your path. Right? I mean, life is hard. You're gonna have faith, but you can't trust your own understanding. Some things you're not gonna understand why it's happening, and you're doing it. And I see it. I mean, you help me because I see how everything happens for you. Things keep happening, but you always say every time we talk, trusting in God. I'm just following.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the verse I thought of instantly when you said that was Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6.
Yeah. And there's one that follows me all the time. It's Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And it doesn't mean do nothing. It doesn't mean like be lazy. It means when you've done all that you can do, stop and trust me.
Mm.
Like, I touch that prayer every day because I have a cross in my house that says that. And I just touch it every day. I'm like, hey, when I don't know, you know. And I do. He's like, hey, you did what you could do. You said what you can say. You got to be still now and you got to let me do my job.
Mm.
And I think like giving everything you can and knowing you've done all you could, you controlled what you could control. And then you just say, all right, God, take over now. And I think that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my life, was to be still. But when I don't know what to do or what to say, I go to him and I say, I've exhausted what I could. Now I trust that you will take it where you need to. And I mean, I can say this flat out, and I say it very peacefully and very positively. I would die for God, without question. I mean, there's a story about Columbine where
Yeah.
one of the girls, I think she was in the cafeteria or something, and she was hiding underneath a desk. And one of the shooters went over to her, held a gun to her head, and said, "Do you believe in God?" And she said, "Yes." And he shot her in the head and killed her. And I think to that moment, I think, if you really do believe in God and you said no and you lived, would you be alive after that moment?
Mm.
Like, your body's here, but would you be in an eternal pain? And, I mean, I've been put in places before where I could have been nicer to God. I could have said the right thing. I could have done better. There's times where I feel like, hey, yeah, I might have said something to appease somebody in the moment and then got down on my knees and said, "God, I don't mean that. I'm here for you." And, but I think one of the peaceful things that I have is, like, if God said, "Go pick up a sword and die on the battlefield in my honor," I'd be like, "Which field? Where do you want me to go?" And I think, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's something in that I feel that for him. That I'm like, if you need me to stand in front of something, I will. If you need me to block somebody from something, I will. Like, I just feel that, and I don't say that in a negative way, and I don't say it in a, like, I don't appreciate my life. Of course I appreciate my life, but I just, what do they say? There is no greater sacrifice than to give up one's life. And, Jesus gave that ultimate sacrifice. So how could I look at him, truly have faith in him, believe in him, if I can't look him in the eye and say, if you want me to do it for you, I would do it.
Mm.
And I feel like I get real selfish sometimes, and I got to look in his eyes and go, "You know what? Whatever you want from me." I mean, he's given me everything. And everything. And I don't even know how to thank him for the stuff that he's given me in my life. I don't. And I mean, I'm 40 years old, and everywhere I've gotten to go, who I've gotten to interview, what we've reached, how we've reached, the people that work with us, trust me, I can't even begin to tell him how much I appreciate that. Do I have pains? Yeah, I have pains. Do I have things I worry about? Of course. But I wake up every day and I'm like, I don't have the right to complain. Like, you've given me more. You set the table in front of my enemies. You did that. Like, you literally put me in front of, he did it as a joke a week ago. He put a bunch of people that talk trash about me right behind me in a room in a row, and they were talking to each other, and I was sitting in front of them. He literally set my table in front of my enemies. And
How it happens.
And he was like, "I've done all of this. So when you worry about one thing, or like, I feel like every day I wake up, he goes, if you worry about something, I'm going to smack you.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything you've worried about, look at what I've done. There is nothing that has been formed against you that has ever prospered."
Mm.
So I know it's long-winded, but
Nope.
I mean, man,
That's the Holy Spirit right there. I'm never going to stop the Holy Spirit. You're speaking to me. You're speaking to everyone. Someone needed to hear that message. So no, that wasn't long-winded. That was needed to be shared with the universe, and God was using you in that moment.
Yeah. But I want you to have the last word of this conversation. So what would you like to say in closing, Marcus?
I mean, look, it's tough to follow that. What I will say in closing is, as always, I'm truly appreciative and grateful, Dan, that you created this platform to share stories of previous athletes like myself, Rob Conrad, Eric Kroom, Shamarko Thomas, and also the work that you're doing. You can really see that it's a passion, and I can tell that you love God. I mean, what I would end this with is, we talked about God a lot here, right? And I'm just going to follow in spirit as well. I mean, if you haven't heard about Jesus, I mean, please reach out to your local church. Doesn't matter what denomination it is. We just came up on Easter, and Dan, what you shared was like, you would sacrifice yourself for God, and Jesus did that. He substituted himself for our sins so we can have everlasting life in heaven, so we could be redeemed and renewed. So with that being said, I mean, if you don't know Jesus, say reach out to a local church, learn more, get that feeling that Dan and I have. We both are human. We still make mistakes, but we talked about it a lot. It was this common thread. What gets us through this is our faith in God. So if you got big goals, find out about Jesus and watch a lot of things come true for you.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. Marcus Coleman, as always, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your faith. I appreciate your positivity, your good message, and the fact that you've always made time for me. So thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Go Orange, baby.
I'll talk soon. That coming from Marcus Coleman one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we spin back around, we will have talk on the NCAA, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. Thank you so much for being with us, and God bless.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. We have a delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you where sports truly meets that thing called life, and hope you're having a wonderful morning this morning here. I know it's a little cold. I know it's a little chilly in central and upstate New York. It snowed yesterday, but I hope that your spirits are high and you're doing well. I went for a run yesterday, a little run walk, and some people thought I was crazy because it was 30 degrees outside, but you need it when you need it. So I'm happy I got to do it, and I hope you're all doing well. A lot of things to talk about here. I want to get to the NCAA first. Something that came out here next week. The NCAA committee will discuss a new age-based standard for athlete eligibility that would grant athletes 5 full years of eligibility from the time of their 19th birthday or their high school graduation. No waiver requests, red shirts, or exceptions will be permitted except for a small group of outliers, those on maternity leave, military service, or religious missions. So that's what we're looking at here. So this is interesting. So basically, I mean, from the time of your 19th birthday or from the time of your high school graduation, like I was one of the youngest in my class, so I graduated high school, I was 17 years old. So I was not 19. I was 17. And there's other people that were older. So being 17 years old, and so that would mean from my high school graduation, either I'm 19 years old or my high school graduation date, I got 5 years to play. But there's no red shirts. And unless there's specific things like maternity leave, military service, or religious missions. So respecting those unique circumstances. But that's something to think about. It's something to look at. You would have 5 years of full eligibility. So that would essentially grant another year to student athletes. So now you're not doing this thing where you got these people asking for their 9th year of eligibility and their 7th year and their 6th year, but they would literally have the opportunity to have 5 years of eligibility, which would hopefully take away all these asking for waivers and bringing the NCAA to court and doing all this stuff that, has been happening recently, which has been insane, like absolutely insane, that people are going, can I play a 6th year? No. Okay, well, I'm going to go complain and I'm going to bring it to this court. Well, the NCAA is going to tell me I can't. Then I'm going to bring it to this court. It's going to say that I can. Then the NCAA has to fight it. And then if the NCAA loses, then I get to play. And you're sitting here thinking to yourself, like, why does this person get another year of eligibility if they've exhausted all their eligibility? Right? I'm all about people, getting opportunities and all that. But, I mean, I look at these things and I say to myself, some of this has gotten a little bit crazy. It's gotten a little bit wild. So I do want to look at something the president's executive order on the NCAA. I do want to take a look at this. So this is straight from the White House. It says, amid growing legal chaos and financial pressures threatening athletic programs, the future of college sports is under serious threat. That is why, in response to calls from athletes, universities, and fans across the country, President Donald J. Trump took decisive action by signing an urgent executive order to protect college sports, an essential American institution that supports over 500,000 student athletes, drives local economies, provides nearly $4 billion in scholarships, and fuels U.S. Olympic dominance. The president's executive order protects college sports by using federal authority to support enforcement of clear, consistent, and fair rules on eligibility, transfers, and compensation, while promoting sustainable revenue sharing and stronger protections for student athletes. This action establishes critical guide rails to stabilize college athletics and protect opportunities across all sports before it's too late. Lawmakers and sports leaders overwhelmingly support the president's action to restore fairness, stability, and long-term sustainability to college athletics, praising his leadership across the industry. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about here. Number one, if you don't like Donald Trump or you didn't vote for him, throw that out the window. We're not talking about that, okay? There has been a call for the government, the national government, federal government, to step into collegiate athletics. This call has come from people within that world. Okay, this is not Donald Trump overextending himself or putting himself in a place that he shouldn't be. So I want to be clear about this, because I know that he is polarizing, and you know, if he saved a baby from a burning building, somebody that doesn't like him would be like, you should have let that baby die. And that's how stupid this country's gotten. So I want to be clear about, I should say how ignorant, not how stupid. So let me be clear on this. This is not a Donald Trump, you like him or you don't like him. This is before he was president, while he's president, all this stuff for years. People have been talking about what needs to happen with collegiate athletics, and if the NCAA couldn't get it right, that they would lean on the federal government to help them. So I want to be clear about that, because that, you know, to me, there's a reality that needs to be discussed, that of what this is about, as opposed to people just hate Donald Trump. So I'm going to look at this executive order, and it came out on April 3rd. Urgent national action to save college sports. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, so this comes from Donald Trump. Section 1, Purpose and Policy. America's system of college sports has long provided scholarships and life-changing educational, athletic, and leadership opportunities to millions of America's future leaders, and formed an important part of our national fabric. In July, I signed an executive order to protect college sports from endless lawsuits and destabilizing financial obligations that could jeopardize women's and Olympic sports. But it has become clear that more comprehensive executive action is required before college sports are lost forever. College football is the primary revenue generator for university athletic departments, including revenue to support women's and Olympic sports, and is used by many universities to attract students, donations, and goodwill as millions of Americans gather with families and friends to watch each Saturday. These factors place enormous pressure on many universities to be competitive in football. The same dynamic exists for basketball to a lesser degree. Amid this pressure, the rules governing pay for play, eligibility, and other aspects of college athletics have been substantially loosened through a number of judicial rulings. Additional rules that could institute order and consistency in these systems have been nullified by some state legislatures that are incentivized to advantage their own states' universities in the competitive market for student athletes by minimizing barriers to recruitment. This chaotic state of affairs has undermined competition, reduced opportunities for student athletes, and jeopardized support for the current range of college athletics, particularly women's and Olympic sports. Fair competition cannot occur without a consistent set of rules concerning pay for play or player eligibility that cannot be endlessly relitigated in court. The convergence of enormous pressure to win in football and basketball and the loosening both by litigation and by state legislature of consistent rules or limits concerning eligibility transfers and pay-for-play schemes has created an out-of-control financial arms race in these sports that is driving universities into debt, threatening to siphon resources from other sports, and damaging student athletes' educational and graduation opportunities. And all of this is true. The athletics related financial threats these crucial universities face are substantial. Already, one major athletic program closed fiscal year 2025 with $535 million in athletics related debt, and another has $437 million in such debt, while others face enormous annual athletics related deficits. These financial perils will inevitably siphon funds from universities' educational and research purposes, which could impact their capabilities and responsibilities as federal contractors and grantees. Absent a comprehensive national solution, therefore, the escalating financial demands to succeed in football and basketball, combined with the significantly loosened rules governing eligibility, transfers, and pay-for-play schemes, may force curtailment of women's and Olympic sports, which I've been concerned about as well. Quote, and may even jeopardize the overall financial well-being of universities with which the federal government has important financial relationships. Universities are important defense research contractors for the Department of War, important medical research contractors for the Department of Health and Human Services, and important scientific research contractors for the National Science Foundation. The health of the university system is integral to the federal government's basic functioning. Further, without a national solution to protect the future of competition and opportunity in college sports, it is possible that the largest college football programs will be forced to seek stability through a negotiated solution that may result in the withdrawal of financial and other resources from women's and Olympic sports. The Congress is strongly encouraged to expeditiously pass legislation that satisfactorily addresses these issues. But further delay is not an option given what is at stake. The 500,000 annual educational, athletic, and leadership development opportunities that provide almost $4 billion in scholarships. This executive action will preserve college sports for future generations. Section 2, effective date. Sections 3 through 6 of this order shall be effective on August 1st, 2026. Agencies shall immediately begin work to ensure that appropriate regulatory or policy-making measures will be in place by the effective date, so that the requirements of the operative sections can be implemented as soon after the effective date as possible. Section 3, definitions. For the purpose of this order, A, improper financial activities, end quote, means the following actions taken by a federally funded higher education institution, including its officers, agents, affiliates, or representatives. And then we have one under A, intentionally devising or participating in a fraudulent name, image, and likeness NIL scheme. 2, knowingly accepting contributions, financial or otherwise, from persons who intentionally devise or participate in a fraudulent NIL scheme. 3, using federal funds for NIL or revenue sharing payments or for any type of payment or benefit to a coach, assistant coach, general manager, recruiter, or other person engaged in coaching or managing an athletic team. And 4, tortuously interfering in a contract between a student athlete and another federally funded higher education institution, including a scholarship agreement. And then we go to B. Fraudulent NIL scheme means a scheme to pay for goods or services, including NIL services, above the actual fair market value of those goods or services in connection with a student athlete's participation in intercollegiate athletics, including through the use of collectives or similar entities. The term does not include 1, revenue sharing between a higher education institution and a student athlete that is consistent with interstate intercollegiate athletic governing body rules, or 2, fair market value compensation provided for the NIL rights of a student athlete by a third party not affiliated with the athletic department of a higher education institution for a valid business purpose that is related to the promotion or endorsement of goods and services provided for the general public to the general public for profit, and that is not tied to participation in the athletics program of a particular higher education institution at rates and terms commensurate with compensation paid to individuals with NIL rights of comparable value who are not student athletes at the applicable higher education institution. C. Higher education institution has the meaning given the term institution of higher education in Section 101 of the Higher Education Act of 1965, 20 U.S.C. 1001, provided that this term only includes an institution that reports, as required under Section 485G of the Higher Education Act of 1965, 20 U.S.C. 1092G, having generated not less than $20 million in total revenue as adjusted on July 1st each year by the percentage increase, if any, during the preceding 12-month period in the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers published by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, derived by the institution from the institution's intercollegiate athletics activities during the preceding academic year, as determined in accordance with paragraph 1I of Section 485G of the Higher Education Act of 1965, 20 U.S.G. 1092G, and D. Interstate intercollegiate athletic governing body means the entity that sets common rules, standards, procedures, or guidelines for the administration and regulation of varsity sports teams and intercollegiate athletic competitions, but that is not an intercollegiate athletic conference, provided that the governing body may include persons affiliated with an intercollegiate athletic conference. Section 4. Protecting women's and Olympic sports and preserving higher education financial responsibility. A1. Agency heads that contract with or provide grants to higher education institutions shall, as appropriate, evaluate violations of the applicable, lawful, and operative interstate intercollegiate athletic governing body rules in effect as of August 1st, 2026, concerning the following, to determine whether they are a cause so serious or compelling in nature to affect the present responsibility of the recipient. A. Eligibility limits. B. Transfers between institutions. C. Revenue sharing permitted between higher education institutions and student athletes. And D. Permissible and improper financial activities. 2. The Director of the Office of Management and Budget, in consultation with the Administration of General Services, shall issue guidance to contracting and grant-making agencies to ensure compliance with this order and to reinforce the suspension and debarment policy regarding violations of the rules described in subsequent 4A1 of this section. B. The Interstate Intercollegiate Athletic Governing Body for Higher Education Institutions should, in consultation with student athletes and in its discretion, update or clarify its rules before August 1st, 2026, as appropriate, to adequately protect opportunities for scholarships and collegiate athletic competition in women's and Olympic sports, and ensure the financial stability of higher education institutions, including by establishing the following to the extent permitted by law and applicable court orders. 1. Age-based eligibility limits to promote fairness, consistency, safety, and opportunities for student athletes under which A. Participation in college athletics is permitted for no more than a 5-year period, with limited exceptions for military service, missionary service, and other periods of absence from participation that are in the public interest. And B, professional athletes cannot return to collegiate athletics. 2, transfer related rules that A, provide for the ability to transfer one time during the 5-year period with immediate playing eligibility, and one additional such time if the student athlete obtains a 4-year degree. B, prioritize the academic development, success, graduation, and long-term well-being of student athletes. And C, ensure that the transfer window does not incentivize interference with athletic seasons or the academic year, or otherwise undermine the integrity of participation in competition in collegiate athletics. So there's a lot of stuff in here. Like, there's a lot of stuff, and I might as well finish it because we've come this far. So 3, medical care for student athletes for intercollegiate athletics related injuries during their period of enrollment and for a reasonable period of time thereafter. 4, the implementation of revenue sharing between higher education institutions and student athletes in a manner that preserves or expands scholarships and collegiate athletic opportunities in women's and Olympic sports, including through provisions to prevent revenue sharing from being allocated in a manner that results in a reduction of scholarships and opportunities in women's and Olympic sports. 5, a prohibition on the use of federal funds by higher education institutions for NIL or revenue sharing payments or coaching or athletic compensation in accordance with any applicable federal law and federal contract terms. 6, a prohibition on improper financial activities regarding student athletes, including collectives or other entities or methods used to facilitate third-party pay-for-play payments. And 7, a national student athlete agent registry and reasonable protections for student athletes from excessive agent commissions. C, to avoid contracting and grant-making agencies' compliance with subsection 4A of this section, the Administrator of General Services shall propose, consistent with law, an appropriate regular collection of information to evaluate compliance with the rules covered by subsequent A1, A through D of this section for completion by appropriate higher education institution officials. And D, the Secretary of Education shall consider taking appropriate action, including through rulemaking, where necessary, to require regular reporting by higher education institutions that includes 1, the total number of roster spots by varsity team as of the day of the first scheduled contest for the team, and 2, the total amount of money spent on athletically related student aid or other payments separately for men's and women's teams overall. E, the chairman of the Federal Trade Commission shall take appropriate action to enforce 15 U.S.C. 45 and 15 U.S.C. 7801 through 7807 with respect to violations by student-athlete agents and related individuals or entities. Section 5. Legal action to invalidate certain state laws. A, the Attorney General shall take appropriate measures to further meritorious actions to invalidate state laws that conflict with interstate intercollegiate athletic governing body rules and 1, discriminate against out-of-state commerce or unduly burden or impede interstate commerce in violation of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the Constitution of the United States. 2, impair a contractual relationship in violation of Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the United States. Or 3, are otherwise invalid under federal law. Section 6, consultation. Relevant White House components and executive departments and agencies are encouraged to, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, consider input from appropriate leaders in collegiate athletics and administration and other experts regarding effective implementation of this order. Section 7, severability. If any provision of this order or any application of this provision to any person or circumstance is held to be invalid, the remainder of this order and the application of its provisions to any other persons or circumstances shall not be affected thereby. Section 8, general provisions. A, nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect 1, the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or 2, the functions of the Director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to the budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B, this order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. C, this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies or entities, its officers, employees or agents, or any other person. D, the costs for publication of this order shall be borne by the Department of Education, Donald J. Trump, the White House, April 3rd, 2026. So it's a lot to take in, right? This executive order, urgent national action to save college sports. There's a lot to take in by all that was just said that I just read through. But here's the thing. When you read through an executive order, there's no media sitting here that can do this, that, and the third going, well, this is what he meant, and this is what he said, and this is what... No, it's like we're sitting here looking at it right now, saying to ourselves, this is what it is. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm seeing, right? So the reality of it all is there are some people that don't like this and don't like that, and that happens, right? There's people that don't like this person that ran for office. They like this person that ran for office, yada, 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 yada. But the reality of it all is this is the executive order. And the executive order, for whatever people think or don't think, or whatever they're told by the media or not told by the media, this executive order looks to protect women's and Olympic sports, which other people are not doing. This executive order looks to protect the NCAA from constantly being sued when somebody wants to play longer and so on and so forth. Like to stop having to go through these individual lawsuits. Okay. So you want to protect the NCAA. You want to protect the sanctity of sports. You don't want people that are transferring a million times. They can transfer one time and play immediately. But after that, they have to have 4 years that they've spent at an institution. So you're trying to keep them in school. You're trying to keep them from running. You're trying to keep them... You want kids to learn personal responsibility, accountability, and that competition is good, right? To go out there and do your thing. So you don't want kids running. You don't want kids going to 4 schools in 4 years, or 4 schools in 5 years, or 5 schools in 4 years. You want kids to get an education. You want them to face adversity and not run from it. You want them to have the ability to move, but not move over and over and over again. You want there to be a preservation of women's and Olympic sports, and you want to preserve the amount of time that a student athlete has to compete in a college sport. I don't see anything wrong with that. Some people, there's executive, and it's, but they show the fact that they don't like the president. It doesn't matter who the president is. Take that out of the equation. Nothing in there says Donald Trump gets to do X, Y, and Z, and he gets special treatment and yada, yada. No, he signed an executive order. I'm going to tell you this right now. And I told you this 5 years ago. Collegiate athletics has lost its mind. Okay? I don't want to see an end to what I have come to know, because it's going to hurt you, the fan, whether you like Donald Trump or not, whether you like the federal government or not, whether you agree with this party or that party, blah, blah, blah. Get all of that, put all that to the side, okay? There have been people, not named Donald Trump, that have wanted the national government to get involved in collegiate athletics because it's gotten insane. The NCAA doesn't win any of their cases. They're settling, and there's all of these financial burdens. I don't understand how the autonomy group of conferences, how the Big 12, Big 10, ACC, and SEC, I don't know how they're going to afford, and whoever else buys into this House settlement, I don't know how anybody, and by the way, it's not the House of Representatives settlement, it's named after the person. So I don't know how any of these schools every year is going to set aside $20 million for student athletes. 20 million, and then it's supposed to go up, right? There's supposed to be percentage increases. I don't know how schools are going to stay open on this. I don't know how conferences are going to survive this. I don't know how institutions within conferences are going to survive this. There's a lot of things going on. Name, image, and likeness. Protecting people from agents. That was something else that I just read in this executive order, okay? You don't want kids to be taken advantage from. You don't want them to run from adversity. You don't want them to not have responsibility or accountability. You want them to get an education. You want schools to have some security that a kid's not going to bounce every year and that a football program's got to find 70 scholarships every single year. You don't want agents to take advantage of the kids. You want schools to be able to not endure this giant financial burden that they can't afford to the point where they have to close because, like was written in this executive order, the federal government works with schools when it comes to the Department of War, when it comes to the Department of Health and Human Services, when it comes to science. There's all these things that are affected. See, we can talk about money until we're blue in the face, but we can't keep printing monopoly money. So again, I don't know how schools are going to afford this, and I don't know what the hell we're teaching children when you're 18 years old and we hand you $1 million for never playing it down. And then you take the $1 million and you don't play. And then you transfer to another school and you take $2 million and you play 10 games. And then you go to another school and you take money. So all these schools are wasting money on somebody it's a bad investment. All right. That person's not going to stick around. Right. So you're making a bad investment. Like, you have to protect the school. You have to protect the individual. You have to protect the sanctity of sports, or else we're going to be in a really bad place. And I don't want that for any of us. So we have to fix it. And this executive order will hopefully help in fixing it. And to the people that don't like the president currently, take that out of the equation. Take your bias and your hatred of everything that he says and does out of the equation. And let's just look at a non-political and apolitical conversation about, if we allow conferences to do whatever they want to do, and we allow schools to do whatever they want to do individually, and we allow people, student athletes, to do whatever they want to do, we're going to live in a world where there will be no parameters, no bars, and it's going to break. The bow will break. There's not enough money to preserve collegiate athletics without rules and regulations. There's not going to be enough money. There's not, in the strain of NIL and everything that goes on with NIL, and the lack of parameters, and the lack of parameters for the transfer portal, and the tampering, and the constantly talking to athletes, and all the stuff that's going on. I have athletic directors and head coaches reach out to me telling me that they know that other schools are contacting their players. So, and I heard that years ago. So let's be real. We have to have rules and regulations. And if the NCAA isn't going to enforce it, or can enforce it, somebody's got to enforce it. I didn't want the federal government to get involved. I really didn't. But I don't see anything in this executive order that I would turn around and say to the president, or say to the White House, or say to the federal government, yeah, this isn't good. Especially when it comes to protecting women's sports, which I have valued from the beginning of my career, and Olympic sports, which I just sat with a crew team yesterday night at Avicoli's and talked about crew. So, I mean, to me, if we don't protect women's sports, we don't protect Olympic sports on top of everything else I already talked about, what are we going to become? We're just going to become football and basketball? And then we celebrate 50 years of Title IX, which helps women's athletics, and then we just get rid of women's athletics, and now women have nothing to play and nowhere to go. How is that going to be fair? So, all I'm saying is there's a whole lot of issues. I applaud the president for caring enough to do something about it. Now we have to figure out the right course of action to move forward. With that being said, speaking of moving forward, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back here on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios right after this.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top-notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Big time shout out to Gray's Craze, our newest partner here in Central and Upstate New York. Gray's Craze, you'll find in Clay, New York on 4599 New York Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. You will find Gray's Craze. So make sure you make your way out there today. They have charcuterie boards and boxes. No two are the same, and you'll find all different types of meats and cheeses, desserts, and more, vegetables and fruit. Just an awesome way to celebrate everything in your life. Whether it's something for you that you're grabbing on the go, or you're doing something for date night, or you having something for your family, as well as anniversaries, weddings, team gatherings. It's all Gray's Craze worthy. Celebrate everything over at 4599 New York Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. And of course, you can call for more information by going to 315-409-4171. Once again, call 315-409-4171 and make sure you do that today. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, talking about the executive order and what's going on in collegiate athletics and trying to preserve the sanctity of how many years can you play and just having parameters, right? How many years can you play? How many times can you transfer? All that good stuff. Speaking about that before the break, I want to jump into baseball here. Connor Griffin agreed to a 9-year, $140 million deal with the Pirates. So rookie shortstop Connor Griffin and the Pittsburgh Pirates have a 9-year extension. And so that is massive here. The deal is worth $140 million, the largest guarantee in Pirates history, as well as for any player in their rookie season. Griffin is only 19 years old, first teenage position player to debut since Juan Soto in 2018 when he took over starting shortstop duties for the Pirates before their home opener on Thursday, speaking of Griffin. The contract buys out 3 potential years of free agency for Griffin, who is regarded throughout the industry as a franchise-level talent. Pirates chair Bob Nutting said this in a statement, quote, "Signing Connor is a meaningful commitment to this team, this city, and our fans. It reflects our belief in Connor, in this season's club, and in the future of our organization. Connor represents everything we value in a player: exceptional talent, strong character, a team-first mentality, and a maturity that stood out to all of us from the beginning. He's the right person, from the right family. This is another important step in the work we have been doing to build a winning team for this year and going forward." End quote. So huge to see that, as we know that the Pittsburgh Pirates, you ask yourself the question of like, who are the Pirates going to be for the future? Are they going to have this talent and then let it go? I mean, obviously you have Paul Skeens, so you want to make sure that you're bringing in talent around him so this team can be not only a playoff team, but a team that can go deep into the postseason. The largest previous deal handed out by the Pirates was an 8-year, $106.75 million extension for Brian Reynolds of the outfield. The previous record for a player so early in his career was Boston outfielder Roman Anthony's 8-year, $130 million contract with a 9th-year club option signed about 2 months after his debut last year. Keep in mind, Roman Anthony hit the longest home run, I think, for baseball last season. Griffin's the third rookie this spring to sign a long-term extension following Seattle signing shortstop Colt Emerson to an 8-year, $95 million deal with a 9th-year club option, and Milwaukee giving shortstop Cooper Pratt $50.75 million over 8 seasons with 2 club options. Both remain at AAA. Speaking of Emerson and Pratt. Pittsburgh will pay a significant premium to keep Griffin from reaching free agency before his age 26 season and will retain the option to move him as the deal does not include a full no-trade clause. Nevertheless, the deal is a monumental commitment from an organization, and so we'll see what they do. Now, they did make a running at trying to sign Philadelphia slugger Kyle Schwarber, and instead decided to add first baseman and outfielder Ryan O'Hearn, second baseman Brandon Lau, and designated hitter Marcell Ozuna as the Pirates look to try and make the postseason for the first time since 2015. The longest drought in the National League belongs to the Pirates. So, hoping good things for the Pirates as they step forward. And speaking of stepping forward, before we hop out of here today, I want to look at the NFL free agents. I talked with Papa Joe about this last week a little bit, but I want to talk about who is still available. So we'll take a look at who is currently out here. And let's see here. So quarterback-wise, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't made his decision. For some reason, he's on here twice, and so is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Cooper Rush, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brandon Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, John Walford, Will Grier. So slim pickings here as far as who is left available at the quarterback position. Running back-wise, Joe Mixon is still available from coming off the Texans. Najee Harris coming off the Chargers. Austin Eckler, who's been around for a while but typically gets injured, unfortunately, coming from the Commanders. Antonio Gibson from New England. Nick Chubb from Houston, as well as Raheem Mostert from the Raiders. And then we have, shout out to the Boom, Kareem Hunt from Kansas City in his second trip around there. Miles Sanders from Dallas. Jeremy McNichols from Washington. Alexander Madison from the Dolphins. Amir Abdullah from the Colts. Khalil Herbert, who was a Bear, now he's a Jet, now he's a free agent. And I'm trying to look at some of the other ones here that are Chase Edmonds from Washington, he's out there as well. And Hassan Haskins from the Chargers, who was originally drafted by the Titans. So, kind of slim pickings at running back too. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill's out there. From Miami, Stephon Diggs from New England. Deebo Samuel from Washington. Juwan Jennings from San Fran. DeAndre Hopkins from Baltimore. Keenan Allen in his second stint with the Chargers. He's a free agent. Jahan Dotson from Philadelphia. Hunter Renfrow from Carolina. Zay Jones from Arizona. Shout out Zay. Tim Patrick from Jacksonville. Sky Moore from San Fran, who was drafted by Kansas City out of Western Michigan. Juju Smith-Schuster out of Kansas City is a free agent. Scotty Miller, who made some hay in Tampa with Tom Brady and was just in Pitt, he's a free agent. Dwayne Eskridge, also from Western Michigan, and he's a free agent from the Dolphins. Tyler Lockett, who once was a starter with Seattle. They win a championship without him. Now he's a free agent coming off of his season with the Raiders. Marquez Valdez-Scantling from Pittsburgh, he's a free agent. Brandon Cooks out of Buffalo is a free agent. Gabe Davis, who went back to Buffalo, he's a free agent again. So, Josh Cephas, who from UTSA and Jacksonville, he's now a free agent. So there's more names there at wide receiver. Tight end, David Njoku, longtime Cleveland's a free agent. Jonnu Smith out of Pitt's a free agent. Longtime Saint Taysom Hill's a free agent. Zach Feels So Good at Ertz out of Washington is a free agent. Will Dissly, Chargers free agent. Darren Waller, who unretired to go to Miami, is a free agent. Robert Tonyan out of Kansas City is a free agent. Longtime player Mercedes Lewis, who's been here on Wake Up Call, is a free agent out of Denver. Nick Vannett from the Rams is a free agent. So there's a bunch of guys at tight end that have been starters that are free agents right now. And I want to go to the defensive side of the ball. Let's look at our edge rushers. Hassan Reddick out of Tampa is a free agent. Joey Bosa out of Buffalo, still a free agent. So given some free agent updates here as we get set for the draft. Von Miller from Washington, free agent. Cam Jordan from the Saints. Dante Fowler Jr. from Dallas. AJ Epinesa from Buffalo. All free agents here. Kyle Van Noy out of Baltimore. Jadeveon Clowney out of Dallas. DeJuan Smoot in his second stint with Jacksonville as a free agent. Cam Sample out of Cincinnati. So yeah, there's a bunch of edge rushers that are out there. I just have a feeling if they're not being moved right now, they're not going to be moved until draft time or after the draft, depending on what these teams pick up. DJ Reader out of Detroit, interior D lineman, he's available. Calais Campbell, longtime player, been on the show, nice guy. Arizona Cardinal, he's out there. Fole Fatukasi out of Houston, who was previously Jacksonville, he's available as an interior D lineman. I'm looking at some more interior. Jihad Ward out of Tennessee, he's available. And then when we look at the linebacker position, Bobby Okereke out of the Giants, he's available. Levante David from Tampa, Bobby Wagner from Washington, Logan Wilson from Dallas, Matt Milano from Buffalo, Chris Board from the Giants, Jermaine Pratt from the Colts, Shaq Thompson from Buffalo, all still available. Taking a look at all of these right now. Yeah, they're all still available for linebacker. And then I want to go to the secondary here. Let's go to corners. Marshawn Lattimore out of Washington. Washington's got a lot of free agents. Trayvon Diggs out of Green Bay. L'Jarius Sneed out of Tennessee. Tre'Davious White out of Buffalo. Jeff Okudah out of Minnesota. And then as far as the safety position, let's see what safeties are available. Ifeatu Melifonwu from Syracuse. He's a free agent out of Miami, previously drafted by Detroit. Rayshawn Jenkins, who's been on the show as well, out of Cleveland, formerly Jacksonville. He's a free agent. Jabril Peppers out of Pitt. He's a free agent. Jamal Adams out of the Raiders. He's a free agent. Terrell Edmonds out of the Raiders. He's a free agent. Jordan Pryor out of Buffalo. Mike Edwards out of Kansas City. All those safeties are still out here looking for a home. And then special teams. Let's go to special teams. Graham Gano, Daniel Carlson. Kickers that are out there, Matt Prater. And then punter-wise, Thomas Morstead. And, yeah, Matt Hack. Those guys are available, too. So there's names out there. Like I said, it's slim pickings when it comes to quarterback, slim pickings when it comes to running back as well. But wide receiver, tight end, some other places here defensively, there's some options out there. But, you know, it's sad for me because I don't like seeing these guys waiting, and, you know, I don't like seeing people just kind of floating out there. But it seems like at this point, with less than 3 weeks until the NFL draft, that these names may not be called until the NFL franchises, these 32 teams, decide who they're drafting and then assess the draft and then figure out what else they need to bring into camp is what I'm kind of looking at right now. But I hope these guys keep working, and I hope they get opportunities, get themselves out to camp, and I hope they make a team. We'll take a step aside for our final fast break. When we spin back around, we'll wrap up Wake Up Call from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios right after this.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myAVICOLLIS.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9 ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Make sure you get in touch with GG Cards and Breaks by heading over there today and Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., as well as Sundays from 10 to 5. There you will find individual cards, packs, boxes, graded cards, everything to travel with your cards, showcase them, and protect them. Make sure GG Cards and Breaks is a stop that you make. Appreciate you so much, GG Cards and Breaks. It starts with Josh and Anthony. The entire team has been wonderful. They work tirelessly to make sure that you get to come in there, be a big kid, and enjoy your time when you go into GG Cards and Breaks. So make sure you head there today. Let them know the DT sent you to 639 Delmar Place at Syracuse, New York. Big time shout out and many thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt finds for you the amazing nostalgia opportunities that you have of them taking their original and the things that you love from their menu and putting a new twist on them, the new to the nostalgia, just like the Jalapeno Ranch Club chicken sandwich, which you can get that Jalapeno Ranch Club with an original spicy, or grilled chicken, as well as the strawberry hibiscus beverages, the new frosted beverages where you can take a drink you love and turn it into a frosted delight, all at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt today with Megan Sorber and her team, anxiously awaiting you on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I want to thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Big time thanks as well to being on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And many thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Brian's Landing, Pizza Man, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Myers Creek, Chick-fil-A in Cicero, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Avicoli's, Game Point Sports Complex, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Willow Rock Brewing Company, and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. It is Bearcat time every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining me throughout the year in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. Find your Bearcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. I want to thank my very special guest, Marcus Coleman of Syracuse Orange football history and everything that he's doing in his life. I want to thank our conversations this week that have truly embodied Wake Up Call's tagline, where sports meets life. And I want to thank you all for tuning in today and having some fun with us as always. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. I want to give a special thank you to our wonderful guests that we had on site on location this week, with having the West Genesee wrestling team at the Wildcat on Monday, and yesterday, for those of you watching live, on Tuesday, having the Liverpool boys and girls crew teams as well as their head coaches on site on location. And of course, West Genesee's head coach for wrestling as well. I want to thank everyone that showed up. I want to thank the families, all of the support, all the student athletes and the coaches. And I want to thank the schools for all that they do. I want to give a special thanks to the Wildcat Sports Pub for hosting our West Genesee show every year. And I want to thank Avicoli's for hosting our Liverpool shows every year. I hope you all have a wonderful day from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I say, God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.